Oh, my bad. That's still up. Welcome to another live show, another live She Knows Arsenal. Make sure you guys are liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and most importantly, getting into the chat and letting us know what you guys are thinking and feeling. And by us, I mean me and Deluded. Deluded is here with his sunglasses for some reason. I was just talking to you, so I'm sure from like the last 2 minutes, nothing has changed. But how are you?
I'm great, man. Like you said, nothing's changed. I'm great. I'm happy to be here. One love to your chat. And you know what? Yeah, I'd say the happiest thing about being here, I think you're very good at how you title videos. Brazilian duo find form as Arsenal prioritize a forward in January window, especially the Brazilian duo. Great stuff. Happy to
Yeah,
be here.
you're excited about that, aren't you?
Yeah, like I
You
never
have
give
to
up.
live it up.
I never lost my faith in Jesus.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you didn't. Listen, I feel like it always feels really good when the players that you support, like that you really support and back, start doing well. So live it up. Get excited.
I support everyone that plays for Arsenal Football Club, man. You know that everybody that plays for this club, but you've all got unique talents, you know. And you're right, man. You're right. Like I'm happy to see Martinelli turn the corner. I don't, in fact, I'm exaggerating with that. I'm happy to see Gabriel Jesus, and yeah, man. Like I'm happy to be proven wrong. It's like we got faith in Kivior. Kivior's gonna do his thing as well, man. This should be an inspiration.
That's hilarious.
No, I'm joking, man.
So
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't.
so obviously big win against Brentford, and I think that it was a game that could have went left. We conceded first, and it was the first time since the 4-2 against Aston Villa that we came back and won away from home, which that was like a whole season ago. Now, context, we were really good away from home last season, so there weren't many times that we went behind. But I think we all know that there is a nervousness, like what is Arsenal going to look like if they don't score first or we don't keep the clean sheet or whatever. And so we conceded, but I think I saw your tweet. Did you think that their heads dropped after we conceded?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it was a weird. I think it was a weird game. If I'm honest with you, like I actually think we started really well. Obviously, was moving it side to side. Brentford were.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say Brentford were living for the counter attack, but naturally they had all their players camped in their own half. I think we started positive, and then that goal, I kind of think we dropped off a cliff, and we did look a bit not nervous, and we're not doing what we was doing prior to that. Now, when we
Mhm.
equalized and beyond, I think we was cool, and we got back to business as how we started the game. But 100%, when we conceded, it looked like we started moving a bit mad and emotional.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that we were like a little nervous and like we kept going long, oddly. And I just felt like there's no point to go long. Like when there's Kai up there, you go long. When Jesus is up there, you don't. But we recovered well. The first goal that we scored, I think, I was watching Husam's like hate along
Big him up.
after, and he was saying that the goals were jammy. But don't you think, like, first of all, it doesn't matter, but that we made some of our own luck in the game against Brentford?
Exactly. I mean, big up Husam because he's a cool guy, but rivals are never going to give us praise in it. You can say they're jammy. Are they the most glamorous goals Arsenal ever scored? No, but then you just said, that negative record about us not coming from behind. We salvaged something. I think it's a mountain to climb trying to beat Liverpool to the title. The minimum we can do is win the games. And I'm not being funny. Liverpool have been amazing this season in comparison to everyone. But you could say they were jammy to a degree against Southampton and many games. That's what a season's about. How many games across a 38-game period, especially when we sit here, Jess, and say, oh, every game's a cup final in the Premier League. Anyone can beat anyone. Bro, it is where it is. We
Yeah.
can do the jammy thing. More so last season, we can play great football, which hasn't quite been the case. Sour grapes, man. Sour grapes. Like, I ain't going to lose no sleep over that. Like, she is what it is. Like, what would they prefer us to lose? Dead.
Yeah, I think the 3 goals had elements of luck in it, but I think the difference was like, well, first of all, Partey took the shot, and it was a good shot, low and hard, that
Keeper
actually
spilled it.
needed to be saved. And the keeper spilled it, and we were in the right place at the right time. The build up to that goal was actually really nice. It was they had almost scored because Raya was drunk.
Yeah, he
Um,
was. He was big him up, but he was drunk. He
I
was
was like,
drunk.
he is so drunk right now. It's ridiculous. Like he wants to put me in like honestly, he cares nothing for my mental health. He does not care. He
Yeah,
doesn't
my
care
heart
about
dropped
your
when he
guy.
dropped the ball. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Like I could have went to an early grave right then. But that whole sequence was crazy because I remember the ball went out to Odegaard, then it got to Nwaneri. Nwaneri does really good, progressing the ball, and we did well. The lead up to that was really good. It's just so happened that instead of Partey's shot going in the back of the net, Flecken saved it, and then Jesus was in the right place, right time. I don't
Like
think
you said, made our luck.
yeah,
No complaints.
100%. I think all of the goals had an element of that, when you put a good ball in and, everybody's in the box like trying to score, Marino gets the leftovers and puts in the back of the net. So I think that it was a good game, and like those types of away games, like I feel the same way about Brighton. I'm not looking for us to play our best football when we're away from
Get the
home,
result, man.
mid-table, just get the 3 points, right?
Just get out of there. Like you said, Brentford as a football club, their manager, everything's great. But if you're a rival playing there, nobody likes to play Brentford, especially an evening fixture under the lights. Just get the job done. And as I said, I think we started well. But how many times throughout the years have we seen Arsenal, maybe not so much of the last 2, maybe 3 years, but we would have lost that game and we'd all be talking about how great we was, but we didn't score. Made it happen. You just, like you said, you just got to get the result, man. We're at that point of the season. Like, just get the results, man. Just keep it moving.
Absolutely. Neil says, like, do we think that Odegaard had to take the player out and get the yellow? Do you think that when he gave the
What for the
ball
goal?
away, he needed to pull the player down?
I mean, you could have. I just think, Odegaard, it's unlike you. You might have been drunk as well, or you've been up all night looking after your kids. You just gave the ball away, really silly. You could argue that. I just think as a team, we're caught on the transition. Obviously, Odegaard's lost the ball. I think Calafiori's gone to sleep. The goalie in David Raya's case is the last line of defense, but I don't think he covered his pulse. It's just a culmination of nonsense from a couple of players, but we recovered, man. We recovered. If that was
Yeah,
in the 90th minute and we was a goal up, then I'm gonna say, Odegaard, take the yellow, in it.
yeah. I feel like there's been like a theme this season of like low XG chances being converted that had a couple of weird moments, like where we could have done better. The Brentford goal was definitely that. I feel like the Fulham goal was 100% that, where it was like, that shouldn't have resulted in a goal. Like, that was just like,
Can't switch off in
it
the
was
Prem for a
crazy.
moment, man.
Even like the Chelsea goal, I felt like had elements of that too, where
A
it was
hundred percent. It was a great strike, but 100%. And I've said that on your platform before, Jess. It feels like I think we've dropped off a cliff defensively this season from our previous high standards. That goes for the whole team. It's not just the defense. Like, I'm pretty sure you go back and analyze the games. There's several phases of play. Now, that's naturally football. Balls are going to get lost. That happens. But I think we need to arrest that. And really and truly, kind of what you said with the Fulham game with Brentford, really, that was their first real chance. I know they
yeah.
were kind of huffing and puffing, but we need to eradicate that. We really need to do better in those situations.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what has been the difference from like the last couple of months to now with Jesus and Martinelli? What has brought their form up? Because it's not just that they just woke up and changed, right? Because I feel like it's been gradual with Jesus since he played against Nottingham Forest. I feel like that's where it started. What do you think has changed for them?
I think for Martinelli, I'm not gonna lie. I don't quite, banter aside, I don't quite extend it to Martinelli. I won't quite say your form's turned around. You definitely look a lot more positive. Of course, if you're getting goals and assists, people leave you alone. That's great. You had a great game against Brentford. For Gabriel Jesus, I don't really know. I think he might believe in himself a bit more. He might just be in football's weird. He might just be in a good moment. I was reading an interview about him, and he was speaking about not Carlos Cuesta, but one of the other coaches, how he's been putting in a bit of work with him, and how he's simply got to get in the box a bit more, because that's the majority of Jesus' finishes. Like, they've been instinctive. So I would say for Jesus, I do think, you look at the Monaco game, you look at a couple of games where he didn't score, but you could say the goals were coming because his performances were there. So I'd say that. I think for Martinelli, we're still kind of in the same stuff, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I said in form because there's a lot of people that think he's in form. I think he's scoring goals.
Yeah, if anyone's in form, it's Jesus. I'll give it to Jesus. And even that, I don't want to get on to Jesus, but it's been 3 games. 3 games is a lot, but is 3 games a lot to say your form's turned around? Because what if you stink up the place, God forbid, in the next 3? But if anyone's in form, it's Gabriel Jesus. And to be honest, you need that across a season, man. Like, we saw it last season with Trossard. He got into a really good moment where he's scoring goals. I think sometimes as a manager or as a football club, you've got to play on that. Definitely where you've got no Bukayo.
Yeah, I think Martinelli, the biggest thing for him scoring goals is just like he's in good positions to score them. Like, I did like the strike this time. I felt like it felt instinctive. It was right through the ball. He didn't overdo it because he's had chances like that over the last couple of months, and he didn't get the right connection or whatever. And so I
100%.
think at the bare minimum, what we can expect from Martinelli is that if he gets into good goal scoring positions, he'll probably score goals.
Hope so.
The issue around him is just more like I feel like what he does outside of those moments is probably a little bit more of the question. But I feel like the Martinelli conversation to me is just like a little bit more of like we're just beating a dead horse. I feel like a lot of us feel very similarly. And at this stage, there's nothing we can do. And it's clear the boy is working hard. It's clear that I feel like it's affecting him, that he's not playing well, and he loves the club down. Like,
Putting on a scarf
so
and that.
yeah, so we just have to hope that he scores goals, knowing that we want to upgrade in the summer. Like a lot of us want to upgrade
Exactly
in.
that. Like he's the same way Brazil use him. He's a squad player. If you get minutes, you get minutes. That's what Arsenal should be doing. Of course, if Martinelli returns to what he was a few years ago or more, there's a different conversation to have. But like what you said, as much as I love Martinelli, I'll never give up on Martinelli. But we're kind of at where we're at. Like for me, I don't necessarily think you've been playing bad because your defensive work is still there. You're still getting in the right areas, but you're not taking your finishes well. You're not getting your head up when you need to. You're giving the ball away a lot cheaper. Like we need you to be a bit more polished than that, really. So, like you said, we're at where we're at with Nelly, man. We're at where we're at.
Yeah, 100%. Talk to me a little bit about Nwaneri, who's probably the other maybe surprise for the game. Like, I don't think people thought he was going to start. And then he was my man of the match. I know a lot of people had Partey, but he was my personal man of the match. What did he do well? And would you continue to play him there?
I would definitely consider, like, obviously a 17-year-old, you're asking a lot of him physically, you're asking a lot of him consistency wise, but because the games are coming thick and fast, but didn't put a foot wrong. I love the fact that he both started and played well against Brentford, because it's like a full circle. Obviously, that's who he made his debut against. I think he did well. I think literally the first 2-3 minutes, I won't say overwhelmed, but he looked like I need to just warm up a bit. And then he was positive, he didn't get the assist, but his balls into the box led to 2 of the 3 goals, or maybe all 3. I can't remember. He was taking his man on. And for me, he didn't look out of place. You did not look out of place. And I still think we need to address that position. Even if we have Saka, we still need another attacker. We still need to act in January because of Saka's injury. But he stood up to be counted. That's all you can do, is take your chance and get confidence from the manager. Like, I do think we're over-gassing it a tiny bit as Arsenal fans, but he deserves all his plaudits. And give or take, him and Partey, they're full man of the match. And Ethan, you should be starting against Brighton. I don't think you've put a foot wrong. It'd be interesting to see when Sterling's fit and when push comes to shove, if Mikel Arteta is going to continue to utilize you. It's a bit weird because you would imagine in the final third, it's less problematic to play these young players because your mistakes are like, you're not going to pay for your mistakes. Arteta has obviously played Lewis Skelly in a lot of games, where more experienced players haven't been available, and he's kind of done the opposite for Ethan. But proud of the young boys. Hope he gets his opportunity. I just hope that it's very different, but I hope that we don't do what we heard the club was doing in the summer, and that we're not really knowing that we need a striker because Kai Havertz is form. I hope we're not reactionary and we sit there and say, you know what, Martinelli's brewing, Gabriel Jesus is standing up. Ethan means we don't need a striker. And for me, an attacker. For me with Ethan, obviously he's part of it. He needs to stand up to be counted, but the man's a young man. Just let him develop it. Don't put too much expectations on his shoulders, and make sure that we can just allow him to be a young man. Like, and Lewis Skelly is, you look at when Saka came through and Smith Rowe and to a degree Martinelli, they're thriving in chaos, like with Kobe Mainoo at United. Like, I don't want my players to do that, really.
Yeah.
But big up Ethan, man.
Yeah, he was great. Do you think that his performance gives credence to the criticism around Mikel not using him during Odegaard's absence?
It's a
Because people
techie
were
one,
asking
man.
about that.
It's a techie one with young players, man, because I do feel it's a bit of a cop-out, but you do have to rate for the right moment. We do need to remember Mikel Arteta is seeing him in training. And I do think, I don't know Ethan as a person, but you look at him and Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly seems a lot more outgoing. Ethan seems a bit shy. And obviously that could have ramifications on the football pitch. People are being reactionary because you look around the Everton game, and even when we was chasing it against Crystal Palace, people were sitting there saying, oh my God, Ethan's not ready. They were gassing him in pre-season. They've been gassing him when Odegaard is injured. Then they said, oh, he's not ready. Now they're sucking him off again, pardon my language. This is what young players, this is the challenge for young players. You need to learn to install consistency. The man's 17. But I actually think Mikel Arteta is doing a great job in isolation with Ethan. I think he is. I think my difference is now is when I look away from the isolated incidents of Ethan and I look at what's available to the squad, that's where you should have got more game time. But a bit of like what you said on my platform, the Odegaard role is very difficult for a young man over 90 minutes to fully understand. Not saying playing out wide isn't, but that could be an angle for him at the moment, if I'm honest.
Yeah, 100%. I think context is key. That I think Arteta probably should have tried him there.
100%. Should have done
But
it sooner. He's been crying for it.
Odegaard's position is different. Like it just in that midfield, we know that we couldn't really win a game without him. Like it was, and it's a huge responsibility. And Odegaard is struggling under the weight of that at the moment. So to put Ethan in there for multiple games in a row, I think we would have seen, maybe not as consistent performances. I would have loved to have seen it, but that's water under the bridge now. Hopefully Arteta will continue to use him at right wing for the short term, but you're 100% correct. We still need to go out there and get someone because relying on a 17-year-old to do Saka's job is also crazy to me. You need something else for sure. Arthur is asking about Marino. Does he start against Brighton? What do you think? Because if Thomas Partey goes right back, then I feel like that makes the most sense. What I don't want to see is Havertz play midfield.
I'm not going to lie. I don't want to see it, but that's a serious option for me against Brighton. I'm not against Moreno. I think he's done well. I mean, me and you have spoken about Mikel Moreno at length. I feel there's too many hyper opinions. I wouldn't be against Odegaard, Moreno, and Rice. I must admit, though, I'm leaning towards Odegaard, Kai Havertz, and obviously Odegaard, Havertz, and Rice. Like, yeah, I'm leaning towards that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am.
What do you like about it? I hate
on
it.
occasion, like I don't want to see it on a consistent basis, but I would have, you know what, Kai probably would have even started against Brentford for me in midfield. I think in those kind of games where it's going to be those typical Premier League games and you got to fight and you're up against it and all of those, these are the kind of games I don't mind Kai Havertz in midfield. I don't want to see it on a consistent basis, like for 20, 25 of the 38 games. I'm not against it, man. And then obviously Kai Havertz, in reality, Kai Havertz is, when we've got the ball, Kai Havertz is going to be in Jesus' position. Jesus is going to be dropping deep. We all know Jesus is a fighter. He'll make it tough for strikers, but he's not the tallest of men. I just think Kai gives us a lot in that regards. I don't think it's pretty. I don't necessarily want to see it, but I'm not against it, man. I'm probably more likely to go with that, but I think Moreno deserves to start. I think some people are doing too, even against Brentford, people are doing too much about Mikel Moreno. Like anyone that says Moreno had a bad game, they're chatting shit or they've got agendas, pardon my language. Like he was decent. Had a good game.
Yeah, I could really do without the Havertz in midfield thing. For me, he brought in Moreno and you're still playing a Havertz is not a midfielder. So yeah, but I know that's what Arteta is going to do. He loves it. And I think Jesus being in form is the perfect kind of like excuse for him to use Havertz in midfield because he likes this. He loves whatever it is. He likes it. I hate it down. So
I don't necessarily like it, but like if you put a gun to my head, if Moreno starts, there's no problem. But if you put a gun to my head, I would probably start Odegaard, Kai Havertz, and Declan Rice. Because in reality, Kai is just going to drop into midfield.
Moreno ain't doing. What's the
It's nothing to do with Moreno. It's nothing to do with Moreno, really and truly. It's just the fact that Kai off the ball is going to run in behind. Like he's going to run in behind. He's going to act like a focal point. Like I think there's two ways of going about it. Like that's why just the tool of Kai Havertz ain't nothing to do with Moreno. He's not put a foot wrong based on the Brentford game.
Is there any other solution that we could think of to keep Partey out from playing right back? Calafiori's played out at right back before for us.
Unless he's going to do that.
Might try a little something else.
Unless he's going to do that, unless he's going to put Lewis Skelly over there or Calafiori or do something weird like a centre-back comes in and Saliba goes right back. I think we all know Thomas Partey is doing up right back.
And this is my
crazy.
point.
We're in the mud, man.
I don't like this. This is giving. I was telling my friend this the other day. I was like, I can't wait to the day where I'm not talking about Havertz versus Jesus. Like, this is Arsenal. Like, I'm dead. I can't do it any longer.
It's like two alcoholics arguing, man.
I can't. Abdi says Partey pocketed Diaz. It's not that bad. Only issue is going forward. He doesn't overlap. Kwame is saying hello to somebody. Arthur says it's about the partnership for me. Partey Havertz works, but Rice Havertz doesn't. I don't think Partey has played with Havertz that often. So I don't know to say that most of the time Havertz has played with Rice and Partey gets to play with Rice at the 8. I think against Crystal Palace, maybe they played together. And so you could maybe say that it works.
That's another game. Them kind of games there, I'm not against it. Like, I'm not against it. I don't want to see it, but I'm not against it.
I think away it probably works because there's no deep block. Usually, I mean, I know Brentford tried to deep block us a little bit, but it's not the same as what they do at the Emirates. What they do at the Emirates, they don't even try to play like at all. So I guess if you think that Brighton will try to play their game, because they always try to play their game, there will be space. And so that suits Havertz more than the deep block. So we'll see. We'll see. But Lord, the day that I'm not talking about this, I'm going to rejoice because this is just
madness.
This is not my reality. This cannot be it. Lionheart says Partey at right back. The drop is inevitable. Gunnar says Partey is levels above the sideways couscous. 105 for a limited midfielder. Yeah, I mean, you guys know how I feel about it. I feel like people are super disingenuous about Rice. So, yeah. Whatever. Johnny says Havertz does run behind, but he slows the game terribly with the ball on foot. And that hurts Arsenal 10 times more than it helps running it behind. I'm sorry. So, yeah, but we still should be winning. Whether it's Marino, whether it's Havertz, I feel like we should be winning.
Or if you want to keep up the pace with Liverpool, have any hope that you can capitalize on their drop off. We've all seen our fixture list. We're up against it, but this is the moments we relished in it. So get the job done, man. It's not going to be easy at all, but we have to get it done, man. Have to.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people, have been for the last couple of weeks talking about what we should do in the January transfer window. I think we both agree that it's not a guarantee that Arsenal will do anything. So hopeful, but not holding our breath. But, we have been linked with quite a few players. So I'll just kind of like run through them because I want to get your opinion on them. Just today, Evan Ferguson on a loan. Thoughts?
I like the player, but I think for him, he needs to go somewhere you're going to start week in, week out. Whether people or myself rate Gabriel Jesus or Kai Havertz, I don't necessarily think you're going to start ahead of them. It's not really a thing, really. It don't really make sense unless you've got him available at some sort of discount, some sort of deal. Because I do think he's going to have a great future, and we want to kind of go on that thing. Great, but for this season and what we're trying to salvage. Nah, man, I don't. It's not addressing nothing. It's not like I'm not against the striker, but and indirectly you'd have more attackers on the bench. Hey, the dog wants to get involved, but you'd have more attackers on the bench.
Hold on.
Go on. Hey, what's that, Beckham, the ugly one? Her dog is ugly, you know. Her dog is ugly. Hey, we said I'm just here with you lot. We lot saying, hey, Ronaldinho in the back. There might be hope for Jess. I told you, she low-key, she loves Gabriel Jesus. We're converting. Brazil 2026, she's clocked. These dogs always interrupt the show. Bro, ugly ass dog.
I'm so sorry. I just heard something in the room and I was like, they're tearing something up. Like,
we're just happy that we never got to see the dog, man. Like,
oh my God,
ugly ass dog.
My besties. You want to come and be seen? Come here, buddies. He's so cute.
You're ugly. Fuck off, dog.
Like, I love him. He's so cute.
Did you get the dog from a shelter or did you buy it legally?
Of course I got it from a shelter.
That's why it looks like a herring addict.
I would never buy a dog from like a regular place. You always need.
I big up you for giving the dog a better life. I respect that. He's just ugly as hell.
He's gorgy. I love him down. But yeah, I think the Evan Ferguson thing is strange because he just doesn't strike me as somebody that's gonna help us that much, but I know a lot of people would just take him. Like they're like, just bring. I'm like, yeah.
When you're hungry, anything put on the table is gonna look like a great meal, innit?
Yeah, 100%. What about Marmoush?
Bring him. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I've seen him religiously, but I like it. I like his technical level. I like him on the transition. He's obviously scoring some goals. Got a mean free kick on him. I'm having him. I'm having him. I like out of all the guys that we've been linked with, and we're gonna go through it. I guess surely you can negotiate something with Frankfurt. I like him, man. I do like him.
You know, it's interesting that like I was on Mo's show, and then I also seen tweets of people saying like Marmoush doesn't strike them as an Arsenal player. He's more of a Liverpool player.
I can see why they say he's a Liverpool player, but
Yeah, I feel like is that a bad thing? Like that cannot be a bad thing.
no, like that just tells me if you're saying he's a Liverpool player, he's aggressive, he's great on the transition, he's clinical, he's good in the final third. I'm all on that. Someone said, "DG, you're not exactly Brad Pitt yourself." Of course, I'm black. I'm black. I'll still take your girl, your mum, your auntie, everything, boy.
Oh
Like
my
we've been,
goodness.
I make ugly sexy. Allow it. Don't like. Jess isn't gonna go on a date with you. Stop reading. Anyways, I love dogs. Someone said I'm an animal hater, but Liverpool player don't really okay. That just tells me you can be a good player in the Premier League. Liverpool top of the league. I'm on that. Bring him. I do think people overhype the Marmoush fella, but from what I've seen, I like him. I don't know if you're gonna change our world. I don't know if you're gonna be a difference maker and all of that jazz, but I like what I see.
He would be a it's interesting because he's not an out and out striker, which I
This is the
know
thing.
a lot of us want that, and I do too. But we really could do with a whole like attacking remodel. I can't lie. I still think Jesus is leaving in the summer. I'm not sure that the form that he's in will keep him. He'd be a really
Someone's got to
good
want to buy him, mate. Someone's got to want to buy him. He's on healthy wages. You know, if he keeps scoring some goals, maybe just, but oof, I don't
Mhm.
know. And even that, you're right, because football's quite reactionary. If you go back a month, if you could say that, everyone would have said Jesus, summer gone. He would have been on everyone's list. Now, I'm not saying they're not saying that, but they're kind of entertaining it. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, he's yeah, I think I agree with Saida that the Bundesliga always has like it's kind of skeptical, but Marmoush looks like the type of player that Liverpool buys, and we're like, why don't we get him? He's not the type of player that he's not Isak, which I know a lot of people are expecting, but we could really do with 2 or 3 attackers within the next 6 to 12
Trust,
months,
trust.
honestly. So if this is one player that comes in and can be the Jesus replacement, Jesus upgrade, whatever, I
Let's say
feel
that.
like
Let's say
that's
that. Let's say that. Let's say that. Let's say that. Behave, man. Behave. Behave. Let's say
listen.
the Jesus
You know
replacement
what
to
the
be
thing
here,
about
man.
Jesus though, the reason why I feel like even as a squad player he struggles is because I do think he has to be starting. I think his mentality is very much so like he needs quite a bit of like I need to be starting. Like I
Nah, he don't, man. Look, he was a squad player at City. He's all he's done is worked very hard when he's been a bit part player here. You keep
Mm,
working hard, you work hard in the dark, you shine in the light, just man. Like, he's a four-time Premier League winner. We need people like that around the club, man. He's a fighter, man. You saw him get a bus slip and everything yesterday. Gabriel, he's changed our world. Word to Mikel Arteta, and he's changing our fortunes so far. What a way to start 2025.
yeah, unfortunately, I think I would like to replace him with someone, but I hear you. I get you.
Agendas have to agenda, man.
Marmoush is an interesting one because he's just not an out and out striker, but he's clear quality. So,
Liverpool
what
got
I think
Salah
Madrid
though,
could
man.
get.
Like, surely if you're Salah, you're chatting to your Egyptian guy, you're getting him over there at Liverpool. Hopefully, I know they can call him and do something. But nah.
Listen, we had Zinchenko talking to Mudryk and getting him on interviews.
Yeah, but
Zinchenko
Zinchenko ain't got no bass in his voice, man. Ain't no. They probably locking off the phone, man. Look how City treated Zinchenko when we went back to the Etihad a few years ago. They're roughing him up. Come on, man. Ain't no one taking Zinchenko seriously. Great professional in that. But come on,
Yeah.
man. Zinchenko's just a work colleague, man. You're not going for drinks with him. He's come on.
I see like there's obviously people want Isak. I see Love Me Forever is spamming it. I don't know who needs to hear this, but we're not getting Isak in January. They are really close to getting into the top 4. They could if they maintain their form, they could get that top 4 spot. And that's kind of what they need in order to keep him. So they're not going to sell him to us. And even if they did, it would be priced out. And this is my thing about the January transfer window is that I do think people get the idea that if you just slap the money down, you can get anybody. You
You got
can get
150 million.
yeah, I'm like, I don't think if you have so Real Madrid can just come to Arsenal right now and slap the money down for Saliba and we're just going to give him away, you guys know we're not going to do that. The same thing works in the opposite direction. If they're fighting relegation or they're trying to get something, some sort of qualification up the table, you can count those players out.
The dream is free, the hustle sold separately, man. In life, we need hope, innit?
Yeah, 100%. I just think people need to be a little bit more realistic, but somebody like Marmoush you might be able to get for a little bit more, like if you overpay just a wee bit, but I can understand why he's not everybody's like favorite option. He's from the Bundesliga and he's not a big name. What about Kubo? Been linked just a couple minutes ago.
He's calm, you know. I don't think the world of him. Like I don't think the world of him, but I'll have him at the Emirates, man. Quite good on the ball, technically sweet. Obviously, people will look at him and question mark him physically, and I guess that I don't necessarily believe that, but I can see why. I'll take him, man. I'd have him without a doubt. Cubo's more at Sociedad link as well. We can't get enough of those players. Bring the sporting director with you as well. Yeah, I wouldn't be against it, man. But even that, how much are they asking? I can't imagine that's going to break the bank. But like, where are Sociedad in the league? If they're fighting for whatever they're fighting for, if they're struggling, would you let your key players go? I'm not against Kubo though, man. Bring him.
Yeah, I think you'd have to pay the release clause, and if I have to go and pay a release clause for somebody in Spain, it's probably going to be Nico Williams. I'd prefer him, but you know, Kubo is also, you know, a good player. So we'll see how we're going to be linked to everybody and their mom, by the way.
And their
So
grandma, everybody, man. The journalists are getting paid this month, man. Like it's easy to make on the best of days. It's easy to link Arsenal with players. We know we need a striker. Link us with Isaac. You know we need a winger anyways. And now with the Saka injury, it's easy, man. It's the same old names. We know we've got accredited interest in the man you said there, Nico Williams and Sesko. It's easy to do this. So I'm all for talking about the transfers, hoping in vain. But reality is, boy, the club's gonna have to pull the fingers out and get a rabbit out of the hat, really and truly, man. Like we need to sign at least one. Boy,
100%. And my biggest thing is bringing somebody that in the summer, if they do prevent us from going and rebuying in that position, we actually want them. That's
true
why
that.
it's like, hmm?
I said true that.
Yeah, you don't want somebody where you're like, get to the summer and you're like, damn, we really wasted blah, blah, blah on you. What about Kolumuani?
Come on, man. Next one. Just next.
Why don't you like Kolumuani?
Shit, man. Come on. Like, I'll be the first one to say sorry if you sign for Arsenal, but nah, G, it's not a that thing, man. Like, it's not a that one. Like, even the Athletic said he was offered to Arsenal. They aired it. He's tired, man. He's tired. I used to like him when he was at Germany. Now he's been at PSG. He's nah, man. Next one. Tired. Rather get no one.
Yeah, he's one of those where even on a loan, I'm like, nah, it's all right.
Tired, man. Tired.
It's a no for me. But
It's horrible, man.
But those are the types of people we're linked with. Kwame says Gyökeres, Osimhen, Mbomo, Isak, or Vlahovic. Who should we sign? Oh no, honey.
Let me see that again. Wait. If money wasn't an art, obviously we're not getting none of these in Jan. Out of that whole list, bring me Isaac. I'm keen for Mbuemo. I fuck with Gyökeres though, man. Give me Isaac. If we had to just pick one name out of all of them, Isaac, man.
Yeah, of course. I think Isak all of these probably makes the most sense. I love Brian Mbomo. I do. I think he's great. Is he what we need right now? I don't know. You know, but I like him.
You know what? If we could get that done, which we can't, I'm on that. Yeah. I'd be so bullish about Mbuemo. I'd actually be quite happy with signing Mbuemo.
Yeah, I like him. That's why when people talk about Semenyo, I'm like, yeah, but Mbomo is like proven quality in this league. Semenyo is kind of like more on the up and coming kind of guy, and so I'd rather Mbomo. But
he hasn't got gunman status like Mbuemo yet.
Yeah, but even still, I kind of want us to go away from the Premier League. I'm a little fatigued of the Premier League signing. I really
because we're going for the rubbed guys, man. Like, we're not
the rubbed guys is crazy. So
we're going for the rubbed. I love them. Like, you know, we're going for the rubbed guys. We're not going for the real G's, man. Like, we're not going for the guys that are certified. Like, we're not grabbing Kudus and Mbuemo and who else is there? Isaac and even a young Anthony Gordon from Newcastle. So I hear you with that. Like, because if you can't get this, go and get their counterparts in other leagues. Yeah, bro. In 2025, bro, the year's just started. And I mean, Koulibaly, obviously, I want the brothers to do well, but nah, G, not over here, man. Nah. Forget all this. Forget him. He's not.
What
Him,
about
Rashford, stay away.
Bakayoko?
More than welcome. At least Kivio don't
I
have to
like
play
him.
against him.
He cooked him bad. But
Everyone's
I,
got
you
to do.
know, yeah, I'm taking Bakayoko. I actually wanted him a summer ago. Um, I think Liverpool were linked to him, and
Newcastle as well.
I was like, we should just go get him, you
I'm
know.
on that.
But I think at the time he wanted to like stay so he can continue to start. But I think he's kind of like now the Eredivisie is somewhere that you can go mid-season and snatch someone.
And if
That's
you
the
can't,
selling
there's
week.
problems.
You know, you should be able to go to PSV and say, I have 50 million, 40 million here. Give us, Bakayoko. He would agitate and leave. So yeah, he's somebody that I would take for sure. And then also like the physicality of the league and stuff like that. I think he could, get up to speed pretty quickly. African Soldier, thank you so much for your super chat. Says Happy New Year's all, y'all. Jess, will you want Arsenal to get Daniel Malen, Arsenal boy? Do you want Daniel Malen?
He's an Arsenal lad. I think you'd be a decent option, but nah. Don't think you're bad, but nah. Gee.
I'm good.
We've already got Martinelli with shit decision making, man.
Yeah, I'm like no. Um, he can go to Aston Villa because I think that's who's linked to him. He can go
Yeah.
there. Like I'm
It'd be a
okay.
good rotation option for them as well as us, but
Yeah, for sure. Boy says, how can people be enamored with Mbomo but not Jonathan David? Blows my mind. Do you like Jonathan David? We've
I
never
think he's
really
all
been
right,
into him.
I think he's all right. I wouldn't, you know what? If Gabriel Jesus was sold and I'm dreaming, but say we signed Isaac and we needed a number two, I'm on Jonathan David, but nah. I mean, he could be available for a free. There's something to do there, but nah, I'm not. Go live your career elsewhere, man.
Yeah, for sure. Arthur says everyone screaming Eze is pretty quiet now. Do you think Eze, like the buzz around him has faded because he's maybe not as good as we thought, or do you think he's just having a quiet season?
Like you said there, like he's not getting goals and assists. I can't remember who said it. I can't remember what former player said it, but that's the reason he's at Crystal Palace. I'm still having Eze, but January's at one thing, but they're going to ask too much of him. They're going to ask way too much for him. Like, I like Eze. I'd still have him, but you're right. You're not scoring goals. You're not in the match of the day highlights. Nobody's screaming to sign you.
He'd be he's like a good squad player to have, but to spend 60 million on somebody that I think ultimately I'd want to upgrade upon anyway. Like, yeah, it's a no for me. At least right now. Johnny D says Semenyo leagues and bounds above Mbomo, only finishing are comparable. The rest Semenyo is levels better, easy. You know what's interesting though? Like the hardest thing to do in football is to score goals. So discounting the finishing as like, but that's the only thing that he's better at when that's the hardest thing to
The
do.
best strikers
Semenyo
are
needs
better
to
than
get up to
Haaland.
the
They
level.
don't score the goals.
Yeah, I get it. Right now, Semenyo has a lot of PR, a
I'm
lot of
having
people
Semenyo
are
though, but there's bare
into
PR,
him.
like you said.
But like, what do we need Semenyo for?
That's another one that's going to get priced out of a move, anyways. Like overly priced out of a move. I like him. I wouldn't be against him, but how much are they going to ask for, really? And like you said, there he's getting a lot of PR. Some of it deservedly so, and none
Yeah,
of it's on him. But you know how football fans are.
yeah. Tech says for now, a realistic signing would be Cunha. Has got everything we need right now and Prem proven. Do you think that's a realistic signing?
No, in January, no. Come on, they're fighting relegation. They're gonna price him out of a move. They probably would be open to letting him go in the summer. Probably one of when you look at half the names you're about to say or said, he's probably one that I think is more likely to depart. But nah, man, nah. And even for Cunha, don't get twisted. If Arsenal bid, then he wants to listen and things like that. I'm sure his head could be turned. But do you want to leave like that? I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't think it's realistic for January though, because he could literally be the difference between them going down or staying up.
Yeah, that's for sure. I don't think Cunha is realistic either, but I do think he's really good. He's really fun to watch. He's an interesting player. He's really unique. He doesn't really fit in any real category to me.
Reminds me
Like,
of a Brazilian, like him and Gabriel Jesus link up play would be absolutely crazy, man. Like very good. Brazil.
how many goals are they getting?
It's wavy football, man. Wavy football, man. You support Brazil anyways. You got Ronaldinho there. You're part of us now. You're with us, just man. 2026, we're winning the World Cup. You're with us.
Yeah, you know. I like Cunha. I'm like, he's not realistic. And once we get to the summer, there'll be other things available to us. So I don't know. Like if he's your marquee like striker signing, I feel like I'd be like, I don't know. Like I don't know how I feel about that.
Nah, nah,
Like
nah. It's not a marquee tick. It's just you. It's like you get your cake and eat it. Cunha, you're rolling as well, but get somebody else, man.
yeah, for sure.
All of them.
So our form has not been bad for a while. Like, I mean, we have like we're winning games now. I think the obviously the draw with Fulham hasn't been great. But that was a couple of weeks ago. You know, we beat Crystal Palace twice. The Everton draw wasn't great, but now we've, beat Brentford and Ipswich. So, you know, speaking about Arteta just a little bit, what do you think so far, like halfway through the season, he's gotten right? And what do you think he's gotten wrong?
Right? I mean, ultimately, for all our criticisms and whatnot, we're still in with a fighting chance of potentially winning the league. We're still unbeaten against the top six. Wrong, I feel Arteta and the players, we just make as a football club in all aspects, whether it's the players on the pitch, whether it's the
Mhm.
recruitment front, whether it's at time, it's a double-edged sword with Mikel Arteta because a manager has to overcomplicate things, but then at the same time, you have to kind of be balanced. I just think we've got this ability of shooting ourselves in the foot. Wrong, I still think it's a lot of it is just piggy banking off last season. You still haven't found that striker. I mean, Arteta would argue differently, but I still don't think we've got that real balance in midfield. Really,
Mhm.
that's it. We still haven't addressed scoring from open play on a consistent basis. We still haven't really addressed that left hand side. Obviously, the right hand side key players have been missing / injured, but we knew that was a factor. So I'd say a lot of things are more just off the backdrop of what we didn't do last year. And we still have scored a lot of goals. We will no doubt do that, but I don't think we're scoring to the level we can. And I think collectively as a team, and I guess indirectly, it has to go to Arteta. I think we've dropped off a couple levels defensively, regardless of what any statistic might say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like Jonathan is saying, Arteta is still doing well. We're in every competition. Just need to get it over the line. It's
That's
interesting
telling.
because there's like a lot of talk about our form, and on paper it looks okay. Like it looks good. Like we won a lot of games. We haven't lost any games since Odegaard has been in the team again. So it's say Chelsea. Um, it's not the worst thing in the world, and we're technically the best team in 2024. So there's a big side of the fan base that's like, well, how could you want to sack the manager or even consider it if we're the best team in 2024? And then there's the other side that's, I feel like maybe I sit closer onto this side where I'm like, it's disingenuous to look at our form and pretend that people want to sack him or want to move on from him or considering moving on from him because of this form. It's all about the trophies. Like that's and the fact that being so far behind Liverpool at this stage makes it feel unlikely that we'll win the Premier League, which a lot of people feel like a big trophy is necessary. Do you think being the best team in 2024 is an indication of, okay, so everything is going to plan, we just need to be patient, we're doing the right things? Or is it more of like a red flag to, okay, well, if you're this good, why haven't you won any trophies?
Both of them. It shows that there are some positives around the football club. We are on an upward trajectory. I do think the manager is a good manager, but it depends what narrative you're loyal to, in it, really and truly. As Mikel Arteta said the other day, all of this stuff is great, but you need to win trophies, and that's now the conversation. We know Arteta is a good manager. We know you've changed the club and all of that stuff. It's about getting over the line now, and that goes for the whole club because I'm not going to say I'm not quite at that stage of sacking Mikel Arteta, but I'm not on just
Yeah.
blindly defending based on whether Arteta's not handled the budget the right way or whatever. There's no guarantee that if Mikel Arteta left in the summer, we would have signed everything we needed to sign to go and do what we needed to do. So I do think there's a bigger conversation on those above Arteta, but nah, man, it just shows that we've got a good base. We're doing well. Don't get twisted. I love all of that, them statistics, 2024, all that crap. I love
Mhm.
the fact that we're the corner boys. We score from set pieces, and he has done a lot. But now we just need to know: are you the man that delivers trophies, or are you the man that steadied the ship and done well, and you leave with your head held high, and there's someone else that goes and does this now? That's it. Because yeah, we are in 4 trophies, but realistically, I'm not saying we can't win them. We ain't played Man United in the FA Cup. We don't know how the FA Cup's gonna go. That is our trophy. really and truly, Champions League, honestly, come on, it's blind optimism. I want to win the Champions League. It's blind optimism. There's no way you can say we're the favourites. Don't care where we are in the cup. The league, you still have a chance, but we keep shooting ourselves in the foot. And we can talk about Liverpool dropping points, etc. This is all assuming that we don't drop points. So, yeah, man, there's a lot to be positive about, but we're at that stage now. Trophies, that's all Mikel Arteta says. Trophies, the players' trophies, Saliba trophies. Like, come on now. I do think a lot of it is because for some fans, we haven't been this good in a while. Some fans, this is probably the younger fans, this is probably the best they've seen Arsenal.
Yeah.
Just need to get over the line now, man. Over the line now.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I saw a comment up here that said, like, oh, Jonathan, our squad isn't that good. Arteta is a world-class coach, just need to improve the talent ID. And then also GK was saying a lot of players individually cost us games that led to red cards. I just want to touch on these two comments because I think they do have some truth to it, but I just want to apply a little bit of context here. So you say our team is not that good. I do think that Arteta coached a lot of our players up and has gotten us into
100%.
positions that maybe this squad shouldn't be in based on the squad quality, the overall quality of the team. And so I do agree that he's a really good coach. I would say that some of the lack of movement in terms of the squad and getting it better, because remember 22-23, we were very good then. And we haven't really improved that much since then. Some of the decisions that he's made has kept us from moving forward. Not all of the decisions, but you can't blame it all on Edu.
No man is without fault, man. We're all in this together, man.
Yeah, so I think, instead of bringing in like a striker or the Xhaka replacement, he brought in players that he liked and that he wanted for his idea of what Arsenal should be, and we didn't necessarily move forward. We got different. From 2022-2023 to the next season, we were different, but we still weren't good enough to win any trophies. We still didn't get it over the line. So I understand. I get that our squad is not as good as maybe people want it to be, but some of those decisions have been made by him and the club to not move us forward. Second, the whole thing about led us to red cards, individual mistakes. We have made individual mistakes, and I think depending on who you are, you blame a lot of the season on Trossard. The bad pass back to Saliba ends in the Bournemouth red card and the red card at Manchester City. But I would say that even after those moments, I don't feel like we had to draw the game against Manchester City. I don't think we had to draw against Brighton. I think you have
that's harsh on City. I disagree with that.
Let's take City out. I don't think you have to lose to Bournemouth and you don't have
100%.
to draw to Brighton away.
Newcastle as well. In the same way, and this is my point, everybody has made mistakes. Everyone's done good things because we could. And I do think for some Arsenal fans, when things are going well, it is all Mikel Arteta. When things are effing up, it's everybody. For some, it's all Arteta, but for a lot of people, it's everybody but Mikel Arteta. Because some players have done stupid stuff. I'm not being funny. We don't want to see mistakes. This is football. The same way you saw Trossard, which was silly, drop Saliba in it. Same way you saw Odegaard make a mistake. This is football. Balls get lost on the transition. This is the belly of the beast. And if you're going to criticize, if you're going to do that, then and blame that, then you got to look at the Newcastle game. You've got to look at how we've approached the Bournemouth game where we set up with that midfield. You've got to look at all of these things. We're all in it together, man. Like, you got to look at things with context, but many people don't. To some, Arteta shit. F off. To some, he's the best thing since sliced bread. Like you see on Twitter, he's changed my life. He's so attractive and all of this sort of stuff. It gets a bit weird. Like, the truth is in the middle, man. Like, it's weird. Like, a lot of them man there that do the over stuff is they like Arteta, which we're all inclusive, but they like Arteta. Like,
yeah, they do.
And surely, Jess, sorry to cut you. Surely, if you really rate Mikel Arteta, which I do, then you've got to be held to high standards. If you really think he's generational and he's world class and all of this, boy, it's mad. Like, best looking Spaniard. If you believe that, great, isn't it? But it's come on, man. I like the guy, bro. I've been to the press conference. The man's got aura. The man's a genius. I genuinely think that a coaching genius. But there's a thin line between that. For me, I love all of that, what he's doing. It's over the line now. That's the only conversation that needs to happen. It's over the line. He said a club of our standard should be winning trophies. It's over the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Now. And so, the last two seasons, we have a lot of different moments where we can look at it and say, okay, was it individual or it was Mikel or it was whatever. But ultimately, it hasn't been good enough. And I think the summer before we went into our first challenging season, we bought in 2 players that lifted the ceiling of the club. We did.
Who are they?
Jesus and Zinchenko
Mm.
lifted the ceiling of the club. They did. They lifted the levels for sure. And we saw
Gabriel's just changed our world, Mikel Arteta.
he changed our world, and that
I'm
set
famous
us
on
up really
social.
well. We actually started off the season well, and I think we're unfortunate not to win that season. We just weren't. I don't think we were ready. We
We
weren't
weren't
ready
ready for
enough
that. We
for
weren't
it.
ready for that.
The next 2 seasons, I just think we got the transfer windows wrong. We didn't upgrade and do the ceiling raising in the positions that matter, and that's why we've stagnated. So the windows are super important. I don't think you can let them go by without improving the team. I think the
Didn't he
January
say we have to
window,
maximize every market
every
as well?
single window, absolutely, and he's correct. But I need you to stand on business.
And
I
that's
need you
it.
to stand on business.
And that's it. I'm
You
not trying to
know?
catch out anybody out, but I can only go off what a man says. At the start of 2024 and at the end of 2024, the man said we've got one of the smallest squads. The whole club have to take responsibility for that because you're getting there. Like it's very different when we're back to back 8th. Like when you've got the great top 6 records, we've been the best team in 2024 and all those statistics. There's hope. There's something there now. Like get it over the line, man. Get
Yeah,
over the line,
I would
boys.
much rather, as much as people are like, "Oh, you don't like Mikel Arteta," it's really not that I don't like him. I actually like him a lot. I think I'm not as in it with some of y'all, that I feel like are act like there's no world outside of him kind of nonsense.
Some people want to sleep with him, man.
Yeah, but I really want him to do it. Like I feel like we've invested a lot of time and energy in this manager. He's clearly talented. He clearly loves the club. It would be really nice if he was the guy that took us to where we want to go. But the jury is still out, and I'm not going to pretend like it's not, so but that's just my opinion. Rob says, do you think we're missing Ben White, just forcing us to constantly pull Partey out of position? I feel like obviously we're missing Ben White.
Missing all of them, bro. How many of these fullbacks have been fit for
Yeah.
the whole season? Like Tomiyasu, I love you, but you probably your availability is horrible, bro. Like it's horrible. Get well soon, horrible, bro. We're lucky Lewis Kelly's come out and come onto the scene as well. Like yes, 100%. We're missing Benjamin, man, and this is why you see when fans do this. Oh, Benjamin White's gonna lose his spot. Timber is bad news. Yeah, that's great, but you see, once you get into this kind of period, you need players. Now they hopefully fancy it, and they won't, because in the summer they're going to say the same thing when we signed someone who inevitably is challenging one of their faves. I don't know what to say. Just like me and you, we're broken records at this point, man.
Yeah, for sure. Johnny says, I don't mind now if people want Arteta out, but for the right reasons, not for lies. That Bournemouth bullshit is a lie. Truth, miss some transfers like Havertz. I don't think you have to lose to Bournemouth. I'll be honest.
We didn't turn up. Like, there's no excuse. Everyone's got to take responsibility. We didn't turn up.
Guarantee that we would have won 11v11. We were awful for the first 30 minutes.
Exactly.
Like we really were. And so, but
the transfer market, you said, Jess. That's why you rock up with that midfield and Raheem Sterling on the right.
Yeah, I really do think that like we should have at least drawn that game. I don't think Bournemouth were leaps and bounds about that. We weren't getting pinned in. We weren't doing none of that. And then, I don't even blame Martinelli for the chance. If you only get one chance a game,
you're not doing enough.
You're not gonna score. So yeah, I don't think a red card means just the result is what it is. There's still football to be played, and there's been a lot of red cards in the Premier League this season, and not everybody has just lost the game. So we weren't good enough. Obrizi says it's funny Arteta has higher standards than most of the fan base, just needs to show it in the transfer window, which that's why Edu leaving is a big opportunity. I know that they'll hire Jason Ito, but it's an opportunity to turn the page. Like the recruitment hasn't been good enough, I don't think. So it's an opportunity to change that, and get Arteta more talent up front so that he can have wiggle room when we're not playing well. Right now we have to kind of be perfect, and we backed ourselves into a corner for the second season in a row by dropping too many points at the beginning of the season. And so we have no wiggle room. So if you go down 10 men right now, you're pretty much not going to do anything. If you can't break down a deep block, you're probably going to drop points. We don't have the wiggle room, so, and talent helps you get over a lot of cracks.
Thank the Lord for set pieces, man. I'll say that much.
For real.
Because we weren't scoring from set pieces and we're not doing anything from open play. You're not scoring goals.
Yeah. Saida says Arteta is a good coach, but ultimately some of his decisions in the transfer window has hindered us. Would a Luis Enrique abandon signing attackers for multiple seasons? I'm ready for a new manager. I mean, listen, I can't be upset with anybody that's questioning at this stage. Like, I just think that, like, at the end of the season, I think if we don't win anything, I do think the pressure is going to be a lot. I really just don't think we can go through the season without winning anything.
We say that, and I agree with the narrative, but really, we really think that? Like, we've seen protests about the owners. We've seen many a times when it was dark, sack Mikel Arteta. The club has stuck to their guns regardless. What's going to change now? Where on paper, you are going to be in the Champions League again. There are some positives. As you said, the 2024 stuff. If you can survive that storm, what's this? Really? You gave the man a new deal before a ball was kicked off the backdrop of the summer we had and off what he's done. So internally, is there real pressure on Arteta? Because I think Arteta wants to win. I think he puts pressure on himself, but those above there are just happy with this one.
I think the pressure from Arsenal fans, the pressure doesn't end up being protesting and stuff like that. It's apathy. And so when I see Arsenal fans posting, the Emirates Stadium, like the little chart, and there's tons of seats open, I'm like, it's already happening. They're not coming to games. They're quiet. Like, that's what, it's not really pressure, but the apathy will set in, because that's what we do. We do apathy. We don't do anger. We do fuck it. We really do. And watching it's like Arsenal fans not at the game for the Monaco game was wild to me. We waited like 7 years to be back in the Champions League and people aren't going to the games. That's crazy.
Wait. Listen, Arteta, I want it to be.
The stadium's not full.
There'll be two things that, like, God forbid if it happened tomorrow, because again, I would stick with Arteta for this season.
Of course.
But if he left, I'm not going to cry. Like, it's not Arteta or nothing. Similar to you, I can see the good, I can see the bad. But there will be two things I'd have to see for me to say, you know what, Arteta out. And it's what I saw with Emery. A bit like what you said, on a consistent basis, seats are empty. And more importantly, players down in tools. There's not a single player that, rightly or wrongly, whether you believe in Arteta, they're still fighting for the guy. If you lose them players, I need you to leave, because that's when it's done. Like, that's when it's done. And I'm not saying you should be here for no reason. It's just, I think when you look at this Arteta stuff, I think it's one where crucially you got to approach it with some balance and zero agendas, man. By all means, you can believe the guy's the guy or believe he's not the guy, but you have to consider the good, bad, and the ugly. But people don't do that. Football's an emotional sport. You're going to be loyal to whatever your narrative is. You're going to see on a pitch what you see. Me, you, and everyone in this chat could go and see somebody make a mistake at the Brentford game, for example. Some of you are going to blame Odegaard. Some of you are going to say, no, that's right. Or some of you are going to say Calafiori. Some might even say someone that's not involved. This is football, man. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, we're going to get out of here in just a second. I do want to ask Duludin one more question just about the Brighton game. What is your starting 11? For that game, because
I'll probably change
assuming that Kai Havertz has recovered from illness.
He has. Arteta said he'd be back still.
Yeah. So who are you starting for Brighton?
I think do you know what? David Raya, obviously. David Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, Partey right back, Lewis Skelly left back. Calafiori, I think he'll start, but I'm going to go with Lewis Skelly. He ain't put a foot wrong. I just think he plays. He's in a good little moment. Midfield, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, Kai Havertz today. I might change it tomorrow. I was about to say Saka right wing, but there's no Saka. Ethan, go out there again, man. Go out there again, Ethan. Ethan, Jesus, Martinelli. But then again, do I want two kids out there, and Lewis Skelly and Ethan?
Why not?
And Trossard's playing his former club. You know, F it. I'll stick to my guns, man. I'm with that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know a lot of people were like, can we play Miles Lewis Skelly and Nwaneri at the same time? I do think it all depends on what's around them. And I think with a strong midfield, they should be fine.
True.
They're not playing like kids, so.
That's true.
But I would probably start both of them. But I agree with you. I think Calafiori will start.
Yeah, I just think Arteta, he it's not really negative, but I think he kind of does the whole seniority thing, kind of what you're saying, the experience kind of thing.
Yeah, and I need Trossard. I need you to ride on their head top.
Yep, I need that. Last season was amazing.
Yeah, I need that, So, yeah, we'll see. But I'm excited kind of for the Brighton game, I guess, because we kind of played good against Brentford. So we'll see. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. And then also go to Deluded's channel. We just did a show where we talked about some of the same things, some of different things as well. So make sure you guys go there. The channel is in the title. You can just click on it or put in YouTube Deluded Gunner and he should show up. Correct?
Hope so.
Hope so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully we'll get to do this again next week. It all just depends on, if he's on Talksport and like.
Oh, allow it, man. I'll definitely be here if Gabriel Jesus scores on Saturday. 100%.
I will be here for
You
sure.
better pray Martinelli don't bag.
Oh my gosh.
You better pray Kivior.
You better pray Kivior don't bag.
Kivior, there's no way they're playing Kivior at Brighton, man. Like, you know what it is? This is why I rate Mikel Arteta. When it's time to play the real guys and when it's part of the season, it's time. It's time, man. Don't worry, Jess, man. Brazil 2026, where we did the World Cup. You'll be a believer in Gabriel Jesus. It's all right, man. Like, join us.
They may win, but Jesus won't be in the team. Hello?
What you think? Gabriel Jesus is definitely there. He's definitely there. Please, God, please, I need this.
The national team. But okay,
I don't care about Gabriel Jesus like that. I just need to win the World Cup like 6 times. Like.
We're speaking this into existence because I think you should be on Saturday Social and the overlap. I don't understand why you're not. All right, guys. Make sure you guys like and subscribe on your way out, and we will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.
Big up you.